everybody. Welcome in to the North End Podcast, episode 59. My name is Zach Graham, your host here on the North End, joined, as always, by my good buddy. He's on record as my best friend. His name is Ian Michaud. We call him E, a.k.a. Lee James, a.k.a. Sebastian Drew Easy, a.k.a. Eastradamus, a.k.a. Pap E. O'Daniel, a.k.a. The Fashionista, a.k.a. Chili Willy, a.k.a. Eon Stonkel. E. I typically sit here and ask you how you're feeling. I know when it comes to our favorite team, the franchise as a whole this weekend, I know you cannot be feeling great. So I guess, how was your weekend? I know Lizard Fest was on Saturday. So I guess let's talk about that first. How was Lizard Fest?
Lizard Fest was fantastic, as always. Saw some great bands that I never would have sawn before. A cool band by the name of Boss Gruggins. These are all local Austin bands, like single artists that come to my buddy's house on the east side there, do a big block party. It was great. Second one, had a good time there, pre-gamed, and then I made my way down to watch this Houston game with you, which always enjoy. And then outside of soccer, still, we had some good pizza after the game. Introduced you to Via 313. It's rare, that I can introduce you to something, Austin like that. So that was a big moment for me. I'm glad it was really good. And then, with our boys, two tough losses here. But look, man, I still am very much on the wait till 10's back. And I think that's probably what's kept me from spiraling into to the abyss here. But yeah, wait till 10's back. That's all I really got to say about the squad right now.
Yeah, same. Well, I mean, hopefully you have some other things to say, or else this is going to be a real short episode. So I'll try to coax it out of you.
Show's over. All right. Thanks for tuning in.
Man, you are very lit today.
Illuminated. Well, I'm always lit. I'm illuminated.
Right. I was going to say, not in the normal context. Yes. Your lighting is different here.
Yeah. We got to, I've been looking, look, we're trying to improve as a club. We're trying to improve as a pod. I've made the investments, microphone, nice microphone, the Elgato Wave, which I still haven't figured out how to make work.
So we're still rolling with the laptop mic here.
Yeah. Well, this is a new laptop. I went out and bought myself a nice little laptop for the pod specifically. Was trying to find, I don't know too much about computers, but we're really trying to avoid talking about this game, huh?
I guess so. Dual screen over there. Like, you're going to have some stats in front of you. Maybe you can, write down what bets you're making this week. We'll talk about the bets too.
Actually, I should have wrote those down.
Another double game week ahead of us. So I guess we'll quit lollygagging. Let's get down to business here and relive the unfortunate result out there in Houston. Second time this season that we're saying that, but a little bit more oomph to this one, considering it counted for the Copa Tejas standings. Lineup, of course, came out, and there was some discussion around the lineup because we knew there was going to be rotation, but didn't necessarily happen in the places we expected. I guess the first thing that stood out to me, typically, you go top to bottom, but my eyes shot right to Jossie Zardes back in this lineup. I then went to see if Maxi was even in the team, because we know that I think it was the Seattle match, right, where he just wasn't in the team at all. Or was that Wednesday against Chicago? I think that might have been Wednesday against Chicago or Toronto. Fuck, man, there's so many games in the last month. I'm all jumbled up outside of pretty much just the results of each one, I think. But we know Josh has talked about Maxi having some knee swelling, right? So maybe his knee has been bothering him, because to me, I don't obviously you and I are big Jossie fans, of course. Who tunes in knows that. And we'll talk about his successes again last night as we go here, but I was really surprised not to see Maxi in here.
I was shocked. And then, trying to, once the lineup comes out, you're in the game mode and we're getting ready to go. And then I think I reflected on it today while I was walking Lucci and texted you, and I was like, damn, like something might be up with Maxey, because you're looking at Giassi, who, we're some of the biggest supporters of him, and we can just admit that he's slower than he has ever been.
Yeah.
And he's probably not in the same physical stamina condition, when he was at his best. So I was shocked to see G up there up front, and texted you and said, so is something going on with Maxey here? Maybe that's just because, we have PTSD from the amount of injuries we've suffered this.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was shocked with that one. And then obviously you get into Hector, and that was surprising. But you definitely brought the intel there with him, that he had played midfield earlier in his career. And, one of his signature plays, or, things that he does the most on the pitch, is a sweeping cross from the right, usually delivered pretty well. And he delivered one really well last night.
Yeah. I mean, it was certainly surprising to see Hector in there, his first MLS start of the year. And then Lima in there at center back, next to Julio and Alex Ring. Ring, of course, playing on the left side of Julio there with Lima to his right. And then Lundqvist at that left wing back position. Danny in the midfield. Sophie paired next to him. And then Rigoni and Finley kind of attacking mid pairing there in this same formation we've been seeing for over a month now. Valencia, Keller, Redis, Diego, Johnny G, Rado, Arruti, and Bruin on the bench. Of course, Bersano there backing up Brad. I think a lot of these things, like I kind of want to save the discussion for who we could have started, who we could have rotated, who should we have rotated, all that type of stuff. I think we can get into as we go here. So let's just jump in. First minute, Houston jumped right into this one. First 5 minutes, really nervy. First minute, Herrera kind of pops it up into the air to himself in the box. And then Nick Lima forced into a sliding challenge right away to block that shot attempt. Not the way you want to see this thing get started. The next minute, Corey Baird, who I think is not very good, ended up offside on this play, but he got the ball point blank with Stuver, and Stuver saved the shot that wouldn't have counted even if it went in because of the flag going up. But that was just the first of many stellar saves by Brad. And even though the team didn't, came away with the loss last night, he was, I thought, as good as ever. And I thought he some kind of bounced back from a shaky, by his standards, performance on Wednesday against Chicago.
Yeah, he made some really, really nice saves that prevented this from being pretty ugly.
Yeah.
Especially because they just came out full blast from the rip of this game, and we're really trying to set the tone. And it looked like we were going to give up a goal here in this early first 5-6 minutes because we were just scrambling. It was like we were just trying to figure out what the hell just happened to us. So, yeah, it was definitely nervy is a good word for it.
After the first 5 minutes, though, it pretty much shifts in our direction for 15, 20 minutes. 9th minute here, long ball by Alex Ring, who I thought was good again last night, especially trying to ping those balls from the left side all the way to the right where Finley and Lima and Hector were over there trying to receive them. This ball over to Hector on the right. I mean, Ring was behind the half line, just a sweeping change there. Hector heads it down to Finley just outside the box, and he blasts it over the goal. But again, that verticality was showing last night, going north-south, and not necessarily excluding the east to west options, because a lot of that verticality, a lot of those north-south passes ended up on the flanks where we were whipping in some decent service there. But Finley with the shot, just, not the easiest shot there, but not even close to being on target. 4 minutes later, Austin building out of the back. Another long ball from Ring to Jimenez. And then he finds Finley again, kind of in a half space. And Finley takes it, slicing through multiple Houston defenders. Cuts it back in the box. And you and I were debating going over some of the stats before we started. And you were like, well, where was our missed big chance that Fatmob had? And I think this was it.
Yeah, that would make sense.
He cuts it back onto his left, wide open, and takes an extra kind of like half second to try to steady himself. And Artur comes streaking in from behind and touches it out. But that should have been a goal.
Yeah, I mean, he had his choice of where he wanted to try to put that ball to beat that ugly Steve Clark.
Yeah. Hey, I love seeing Steve Clark.
We're just going to be rude today.
Yeah, well, you know.
It's going to be bad insults, jerk faces.
Yeah, it's okay. They deserve it. I can't wait for Steve Clark to come to Q2. There is literally no other keeper that lets in more goals than Steve Clark at Q2 Stadium. 18th minute here, Lima and Finley working that right side again. So I thought it was interesting that even though we've seen Leo when he's been in that right center back spot, and again, I guess we can not wait till the news portion to say this. Leo, we did get that injury update after Thursday's episode, out at least 2 months with a torn LCL. So of course, I think me saying, it looks like meniscus, and you saying, nothing torn. Thursday.
Yeah.
We are definitely wrong more than we are right, I think. Certainly when it's come to diagnosing the injuries this year. We'll try on the newest injury later, I guess, see if we can improve our luck there. But it was interesting. I kind of get back on track here. It was interesting to see Lima play in an even more advanced position at times on offense, even though he's in that center back role. And I thought it was a big plus here because obviously he's the one that ends up getting the primary assist 5 minutes from now. But on this play, Zardes was calling for service. Neither Finley or Lima can quite reach him and can't on Finley's eventual cross. But the cross was accurate. And it was certainly like Jossie could see the way that they were marking him. Like he wanted that service. And it comes 4 minutes later, 22nd minute, 13 passes here on this possession, building out the back. Once again, going down that right side. The right side was a much greater source, not just because of this goal here, but a much greater source of offensive potency, I think, for lack of a better term there, down that right side compared to the left last night. Lima ends up finding Jossie wide open. He's calling for it. And I'll toot my own horn here.
Yeah, I was going to toot it for you.
I saw it too. And was yelling he's open. And fantastic ball by Lima. And fucking great finish by Jossie. He is, I don't know, at the spot, maybe a yard closer to net, but the way he redirects that right into the bottom corner of the net where Steve Clark can't get it. I mean, this is look, let's give G his praise, give him his flowers. He has now scored in 3 straight league games, 2 of them being game winners. Versus goal last night gave Austin the lead. He is only the second player in club history to score in 3 straight league matches. Only other one is Seba. He did it 3 times last year. And looking that up this morning, I did not remember. Seba went on a 7-game streak of scoring at least 1 goal last year. I think he scored 9 goals in 7 games at that point during that stretch of the season in 2022. And it might be a long time before we see a player for Austin FC go on a streak like that.
The Seba Redemption Tour is going to be real, so it might not be. It might not be that long. A couple things here that I've kind of documented. I don't need a second screen. Take the notes right in the brain. That right side, yes, obviously sucks that Leo got hurt, but Lima definitely provides a more offensive mindset and probably a better offensive skill set up the field than Leo does.
Sure.
So I think that's part of the reason why you saw this right side having a lot more potency. Another reason you brought up earlier was the verticality and how the long balls kind of returned, which were non-existent in the Chicago game, and that was a direct result of how they game planned for us and played a lineup that they quite literally have never played before. Mm-hmm. So the ball's coming from Alex from the left over to the right. Another nice reason. Finley, his activity in general is just really great. Yeah. Like he's always pushing the pace, trying to find a run. And I think that's another reason why that right side looked really solid in the offensive side of the ball there. And then, don't forget Giassi, 100th goal.
Yeah. 100th goal. 13th player in league history to achieve that mark. Yep. So again, if we could take it doesn't feel great to take a victory lap after a loss, especially a rivalry loss. But look, man, we said it and hope like there's still people out there going, hey, it's not enough for me. Goals in 3 straight games. And I think you look at the full body of work where I believe 14 appearances on the season for G, 8 starts, 3 goals is still behind that 10 goal pace that we kind of set as a baseline for him before the season started. But if we wanted to make our own small sample size, because a lot of others in our fan base love to look at small sample sizes, I mean, he's on pace for what, 20 more goals this season. So just keep that going, Jassy, and we'll be just fine. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, fantastic for him. I was definitely bummed after the game for him because he was not really able to celebrate that how he deserves to, as a guy who's had such a great career and just seems like a great dude off the field as well.
Yeah, I mean, it was really cool to be an Austin FC fan and have him get his 100th goal right there. Yeah. Obviously we're a young club, and to have someone hit a historic marker like that in our uniform was awesome. Also, G, he's a pretty reserved guy. I'd imagine he's going to have his proper celebration with like his loved ones and close friends. So just hats off to him for an awesome career that he can hopefully keep rolling. Just keep rolling.
At least for the next 2.5 seasons, however long he's here. Yeah. And hopefully we're celebrating 101 and maybe more in one of these 2 matches this week. Back to last night, 30th minute, Julio picks up a yellow for extracurriculars here, and it was because he kind of put his knee into Amin Bassi's head, and you know what? I got no issue with that.
Good.
Yeah.
Look, we talked about it before the show. I think he is my outside of maybe Boxall.
Yeah, and he's coming up today.
Boxall's up there for sure, but if we're talking about a guy I absolutely fucking hate, it's Amin Bassi.
Is he above on the hate rankings? Where does he slot in? Like I want you to make a definitive ranking here between Bassi, Mike Boxall, and no longer in the MLS, but still, I think still counts on your hate rankings, Lucas Cavallini, Jersey Shore Benzema himself.
Cavallini's at the bottom.
Okay, he's third. Is that because he's out of the league or what?
I mean, he was just like a douche.
Yeah, he got steps on people with his cleats.
Yeah. He's still at the bottom for me.
Okay.
And then it's probably Bassi.
Bassi too. Boxall 1.
Boxall's dirty.
Yeah, fuck that guy.
That's different. Bassi is just a flopper. He's all of his goals have been on penalties.
Yeah.
Right. He opened the season with wasn't it 5 consecutive games?
Yeah, it was 4 or 5. Well, once he got the first one, which I was against. Was that against us the first time? Yeah. I think after that, that's when he went on that streak. It was at least 4 games, if not 5 in a row.
He should have got a yellow card for the flop that he took trying to get a PK or a foul outside the box. If fucking Bruin got one.
Yeah. Well, and he fucking Ted Uncle on the call last night. He gave him the PK. He made the call, and then everything nullified for offside. So
oh my god, that's right. He did give him the fucking call.
He did, Ted.
Oh
come on, Ted.
God. Yeah, I really dislike Amin Bassi a lot.
33rd minute, Houston wins a free kick, 5 yards outside of the box, and of course, Ache steps over it or stands over it, takes it. Top class save by Brad to keep that out, because that was a world class shot. Going into the top corner. Stuver barely gets it out of there. 4 minutes later, Zardes gets put in he's kind of tracking back to help in the defensive half, It's still closer to the half line than the 18, but gets kind of put in a tough spot there. But I think it was Hector, like 3 or 4 Houston defenders around him, tries to kind of give him the spinorama and loses the ball. It starts a Houston break, and I saw some people directly saying like, oh, and Zardes gives up the Houston goal. It's like, come on, man. Like, I understand he turned it over.
There was 3 guys on him, and he's the only progressed player.
Yeah, well, and they're also, they get the ball. Houston gets the ball back. It's 40 yards from the goal.
Yeah, we have 10 guys back there.
Yeah, there was. I went, watched it, freeze framed it. There are 5 Houston players on the offensive. There are, and I'm being generous here, it could have been 7. There are 6 Austin defenders. A couple of them, including Danny, stand a little bit flat-footed during that break. Ends up getting to Aliu, kind of their new striker or forward there, he was speedy. He was a threat last night.
Yeah.
I know you didn't think he was very technically sound, but he was athletic.
Yeah, and that was a threatening thing the entire evening. And it started with the Baird play where they were just sneaking in behind us and or playing really nice passes to him. Yeah. He received a lot of really great service, and he's just way faster than Julio. Yeah. But no, I don't think, he's not very skilled.
Sure. Well, so he gets through and Bassey, good pass to get it through that back line. Aliu then cuts it back. Ring gets there to deflect it away from Carrasquilla before he can put it on net. And then Ache beats Lima and Ring to that loose ball. And again, just like he's a world-class player, and the finish was sneaky. Cuts it back away from the defenders, kind of freezes Stuver, and if it's 4 inches to the left, Julio keeps it out. But
yeah,
credit to Ache, man. It was a heads-up play, and I think a deserved goal for him.
Yeah, I agree. And he is a guy who steps up in these rivalry games.
He has.
He plays some of his best soccer, footy, whatever you want to call it, when he plays us.
Yeah. At least this season. They actively got worse the one time he came on against us last season. But
this season,
he was taking drinks out the bottle, partying on Sundays after the matches. We know what he was doing last year. He didn't get the money.
So he stepped up and he really hurt us.
42nd minute, Danny takes it from the defensive half across midfield, down the left, cuts inside, finds space, takes the shot 5 or 6 yards outside the box, forces Clark to make the save. Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Loved it. Yeah. Let him rip. He deserved to. Especially on the defensive work he does. You absolutely deserve that. So no issue there. And it's something we asked for the other night. Steve Clark, we score on him.
Yeah.
Make sure he's awake.
Yeah, wake him up.
Yeah.
Coming back from the half, Jimenez, his work is done. John Gallagher got a little rest. He's back in there now on the right. 48th minute, Houston building up. And I thought the second half, Carrasquilla was damn near unstoppable. He was killing us with his distribution. Plays another great ball here to Aliu, and then his cut back is deflected out to Herrera, and then his shot is blocked by Lundqvist. But again, Houston right after the half, they didn't control the whole half in terms of momentum, but certainly the beginning of the half once again belonged to the guys in orange. 54th minute. Not a lot from this guy last night. I thought he was bad, but sick back heel from Rigoni near that left sideline in the corner. And that back heel finds Lundqvist diving in. His cross goes towards Zardes, but he can't quite get the handle on it. And again, I thought Rigoni he did not show up a lot last night. And overall, again, I thought he had a bad game. I think over the last 2, this and the Chicago match, this man needs a rest. Can we get Diego in for him? He is showing signs, I think, of really being exhausted.
I was going to say the same exact thing. He needs to sit down for a little while.
Yeah. Well, we still may not have that luxury. I don't even know if you can call it a luxury at this point. We just
right.
We press on. 56th minute, Austin in possession. Works it around right to left in the offensive half here. Rigoni whips it across from that left side that Houston unable to clear, and Lundqvist and Danny both keep it alive with a couple deflections. Danny kind of darts through a group of players from both teams to get near that end line, and he fires across that the face of goal. Gets kind of deflected near the spot by one of those Houston defenders, and G was standing right there, but Zardes not really quite ready to handle that ball coming at him off the deflection. Ends up going out for a corner. But that was one of the few chances that we had where like Austin was not completely toothless here in the second half, but wasn't able to put one of those loose balls, deflected balls into the net like Houston was twice.
Yeah. Frustrating game for Danny too. Has Uncle thrown him out before? Did Uncle red him?
That's a good question. He's had 2 or 3 in his career. I think he's had 2. Might have been 3.
Why do I feel like he's the one who ran him one time? But whatever.
Yeah.
I thought that it was a frustrating night for Danny. I thought that he got some really bad whistles too. I think he had some really nice tackles that were like significant plays that were going to like push us forward.
Yeah. I think the one that set up Herrera's free kick in the first half that Stuver had to make that save on.
Yeah.
I think that was one, right? Like that was looked clean on the replay.
Yeah. Soft. And, to Danny's credit, he didn't go over the top and get carded on anything. But yeah, it was a frustrating night for him. I thought he had a hard time just kind of finding his rhythm. And again, a dude who's logged a ton of minutes. And I know he's 20. I know he's 22. Yeah. 22.
I think you're correct. Yeah.
He's a young man. But he's playing a shit ton of minutes and he has to do a lot for this club. So another guy that would be really nice to just get a rest for. I know he hasn't popped up too much in the minutes log because he didn't do anything overly like super significant. But I do think that we've found a little something out of Jafal. And I think that he is going to be a player that we can count on, as this season progresses and we have to deal again with potential injuries and having to rotate guys. But yeah, frustrating night for Danny, I thought.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Frustrating night for Danny. Not his best night. And again, to your point, he is now with Leo out and maybe Alex Ring out now, unfortunately. Maybe he's that guy that we need to sit down because, I guess we'll talk about performance staff and injuries and all that here in a minute. But he's the one that fits the profile now is let's get him some rest so we don't have another one of those injuries. And with Sophie, he strung a couple promising performances together for sure. I don't think shows up a ton in the minutes because a lot of the stuff he's doing is the little stuff. He's not the one that's putting in that final pass. I think he did get the hockey assist on the goal in the first half. So I should have mentioned that, but some of his just little turns or extra effort to get to a ball, like those are the things I think that were standing out to you and I watching that match last night. And then on the rewatch today, that again, like you said, doesn't necessarily show up when 2 idiots are recapping the game. 59th minute, Houston in possession, sees a Karaskia cross headed out by Julio. That ball falls right to Herrera, and he nearly puts it in the corner, but Stuver with another impressive save to force a corner, and off that ensuing corner, Zardes gets onto it near the top of our own area, and he sees Ethan Finley streaking down the field, one-on-one, one defender back with about 60 yards of space in front of him. And that pass, which I thought was a quality one, Ethan tries to let it run through his legs, it looks like, and it goes off his back heel and just stops the break. That was unfortunate because it was open enough where the announcers were like, "Oh," when that pass was made. That was disappointing for sure.
Tough.
4 minutes later. It's not. I think this is just when the sub happened. 4 minutes later, on that play, Alex Ring reached out. Right leg to get a touch the ball back to Stuver, feels some tightness in his groin and goes down. So I guess let's have that conversation now. I think on this injury in particular, it did not strike me with the way he moved and the way he reacted. I don't think this was as bad as the Diego one. Obviously, we didn't see Seba that happened in training, or the Julio one though. Like Julio and Diego both looked like they knew there was like this is gonna be a while.
Mm-hmm.
Alex to me didn't look like he had that same type of concern, but he's also a different cat. So like maybe it was really bothering him. I imagine we'll get press update Tuesday, I think, with the Wednesday game. So that's probably when we get an update.
Yeah, I mean, I felt terrible for Cap there. The interaction that kind of worried me is when he came off and saw Coach and shot Coach probably pretty straight with his evaluation and how he was feeling. And you see Wolf's response and he's just like, fuck.
Yeah.
And man, yeah, God. Yeah, just fuck.
All right, so let's have the broader conversation here. And I guess let's stick with the ring injury before we talk about just the trend that we are now seeing here in the club. Do you put any fault on Josh Wolf for not rotating Alex? I believe he has played all but 1 minute for 12 straight matches. Any blame for you? I think looking at your face and knowing the first time I saw that this morning, I had not thought about that really. I don't think you had either. Bringing it up now, do you put any fault on Josh for? I mean, we've rotated nearly everybody else at least for a half.
Mm-hmm.
Anything in your mind on that? I think I can get with the idea of putting some blame on Josh for sure. I don't think it's 100% on him though, because with almost any injury, it's some of it is fluky, some of it at least, right?
I mean, yeah, a large part of it's random for sure. No, I mean the time to have done it was versus the Fire, and you would have then been, kind of openly saying, we're not all in.
Yeah,
and you can't foresee him getting hurt here. And it would have been tough to rotate Alex.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think tough.
I thought we were expecting a Rado start.
Yeah, well, and I think that's I saw this morning from people whose soccer opinions I very much respect, putting a lot of the fault on him there, on Josh, and wondering why Radovanovic was not in there. Not necessarily, I think, for Ring, but just like, he can't start. We've seen him start already. All those decisions are made in conjunction with the performance team, right? They're always recommending, and you would think that Josh would hopefully kind of abide by their recommendations, considering they're the experts there.
I mean, I think we definitely do, and I think I was going to make this point earlier, like it or dislike it. This team has a pretty hard stance on saying we don't rush players back. We trust the numbers we see. We trust the figures. We trust the data that we see. And all you can really ask for in that situation is consistency. I mean, Coach even said Seba's been in his office being like, let me play. And you know how hard it is to say to someone like that, no, he's making $6 million.
I do. Not $6 million part, but I mean, I've had all league players come into my office who are hurt saying, I want to play. And no, you can't. The trainers say no.
Yeah. I mean, I get that, but this is also a whole different level.
Yeah.
So I think that's how we roll. And I think if there had been signs of, Cap showing wear and tear, which makes sense. He's 32. He's logged a shitload of minutes. We're just in dire straits. Like we said, we're patching a team together for the majority of the season. I just want, this is something that, has been on my mind for a while. 8 minutes. We have had 8 minutes of play throughout the entire course of this season where we have our preferred starting 11 on the field.
Yeah.
So it's just tough, man. You can't predict injuries, but I understand the argument that he probably needed some rotation. Yeah. And looking back at that now, you can kind of, provide more validity to that argument.
Right.
But if we had rolled out Ratto, Julio, Lima, people would have lost their shit on the internet.
I agree.
Where's
That was one of my things I said in response this morning to the 100% on Wolf thing, is that like it's a lot easier to say that now after the injury.
Of course,
like he could have got injured Wednesday. He could have got injured last Saturday. And if we rotated him in any of those games, people would have been upset. And we may have been upset as well. Like, we can't rotate Alex Ring right now.
Mm-hmm.
I think
if we had rotated him and he played 30 minutes and he got hurt, people would have been like, oh, he wasn't fresh. He should have started. He came off the bench cold. So, like, there's some blame to be had. There's no way you can say it's 100% on somebody with an injury like that, unless the coach is, like, negligently putting his players out there after a bad injury and it's too soon.
For sure.
So, I mean, yeah.
Oh, and there was further context provided in the conversation that I had. So not necessarily, I'm not naming names here, so we don't have to get into anything. Just for the content, right? Let's talk. I mean, look, 4 severe groin injuries so far this season. I guess severe. We don't know the severity of the current or the new injury to Alex Ring, but those coupled with the LCL tear to Leo. We are dealing with more injuries now than I think we ever have. Like, we had injury issues in that first season right off the rip. Ben Sweat, Danny Hosen, and we obviously took on some others throughout the year, probably the most notable being Matt Beasler, forced to retire from the concussions. But now that we're coming off a season where we had first ballot Hall of Fame injury luck, it was just Hector. Because, Stu busts up his knee. He's out 3 games or whatever, but that was a freak play that happened from him hitting the goalpost or whatever it was. So there was only one of these type of injuries really with Hector mid-season last year. So do you think that there's and Josh Wolf addressed it last night. He said it's 3 or 4 of the groin injuries, when he says them, in a short span that we've had. It's enough for me to have questions with the high performance staff. And obviously we'll keep scouring and looking for ideas, better solutions to minimize and limit the risk of the players. And that was from Phil West's article over there on the Striker. So he, like, the fact that he has acknowledged it, I don't think it is completely valid, I think, for anybody to be questioning what's going on there. I still personally don't think it's anything super out of the ordinary, outside of the fact that it is guys having issues with the groinals, right? The number of injuries as a whole in a vacuum is not irregular. It's not. You look at, I was just looking at the injury report for Columbus, because they kicked off against Nashville pretty much right when we started recording. They have 6 guys on their injury report right now. 6 guys. We have Zahn out, Leo out, and Seba questionable going into last night. That's a pretty clean injury report if you take away the names, right? It's 2 guys out, 1 guy questionable. We saw Toronto last week with 9 guys listed out. So I don't think this is anything out of the ordinary. And again, I have faith in the team that those guys in the performance staff and the coaching staff will be working together as they do all the time to try to, like Josh said, minimize the risk going forward and see if there's anything we can figure out that we can do better in that area. But I still lean pretty much to the side that this is just normal wear and tear for the most congested piece of the schedule we've ever had. What are your thoughts on, if any, on the performance staff? Because again, of course, we were kind of joking about it for a couple of weeks that, now where people are going after the training staff. But now, coach has addressed it. Any additional thoughts there?
No, I'm pretty much with you there. We had a season last year that was really completely out of the ordinary, and now we're just at a point where we're suffering normal injuries that teams go through. The coincidence of it all being in the groinals is strange. There could be something to that. I don't have any idea what it could be. I don't know if our training staff is making guys do more types of reps or sets or exercises that is exposing them to that potential injury. I can't comment on that because I have no fucking idea. But it's more likely chance than anything. So yeah.
You said something there. You can't comment because you have no fucking idea. It's a good thing that some people should get that through their heads on certain topics, I think.
Yeah, we don't know what they're doing.
Yeah. Let's get back into the game here. 65th minute, Nelson Quinones comes in for Corey Baird, and right, I think his first touch, Quinones plays Bassey in behind, and this is where Bassey flops down in the box. Ted Uncle calls the PK. Flag goes up, but like, can these damn refs stop being fooled by Bassey? Like, the refs have scouting reports too.
Yeah.
They watch film. You know that this is what this guy does. And if you watch the replay, he's got his hand on Julio's neck before he goes down. And is there a little contact? Sure. I just don't think, like, how could you possibly give that penalty on your first look? Especially the way you're calling this match.
It's absurd. And he didn't even like fall forward. He just crumbled.
Yeah.
You get pushed in the back, you're gonna
He's going away from goal.
Yeah, he clearly is the one instigating that contact, elevating that contact because he's a smaller guy. I get it.
Sure.
He's being crafty. He's trying to get a PK for his team. I totally understand it, but I fucking hate
him. Look, I am old enough to remember in the Western Conference Final in 2022, Diego Fagundes was stepped on in the box, goes down, but because he dribbled away from net, no PK. So, no, fucking Ted, come on, bro. And I didn't think that we've had some bad Ted Uncle games.
Yeah,
I think that was one of them, but that was a bad moment for him in this game.
Yes, it was embarrassing.
Yeah,
and we're still one of 7 teams without a PK this year?
Yeah, and I don't know if any of those other 6 picked one up last night. But we still remain without one, and I don't think either of us are suggesting there's some sort of grand conspiracy and we're not getting a good whistle. That has to do a lot with style of play.
Absolutely.
We don't dribble a lot in the 18.
Yeah, we're getting shots in the box though. We're having our last couple games. We've had really great attempts in the box.
For sure.
Let's wrap this up. Yeah.
Quinones active as hell here. 2 minutes later, he gets a yellow card for pulling on Julio's jersey. 70th minute, Houston wins the ball in the Austin half. But Austin pretty much, in short order, wins it back. Diego runs onto the loose ball and makes, I was going to say a beautiful ball, but this is just a Diego Fagundes pass. Like, this is what he does. And again, we saw some of the great corners and free kick attempts on Wednesday when we were trying to get back into that match against Chicago. And, I still think, again, we know, like Josh has confirmed, that he's still working his way back fitness-wise because of the injury. And, I'm hoping, fingers crossed, he's fit to start one of these 2 matches at home this week because we need more of that. Even if he doesn't have the motor that we know he does when he's at his fittest, we are. I think we are still going to benefit greatly from his presence going forward. And that pass to Jossie was just a prime example. Unfortunately, the shot Jossie gets in behind the defense, really tough angle. Don't expect him to really make this shot, but nowhere close with the left-footed attempt. Just kind of goes harmlessly out for a corner on the other side. 72nd minute. I guess right after that, Ulfarsson comes in for IU. So reinforcements up front in a 1-1 match here, 72nd minute. Austin corner set up by a nice Rigoni run. That corner goes short to Danny. He swings it to Lima. And Lima crosses it into the back post on the left side. Julio's there. Good header. And Clark runs it down before it crosses the goal line. 2 minutes later, Maxi in for Zardes. So at least, he's able to get out there and play here.
Yep.
I think he's going to start Wednesday. I hope, because there's been a lot of minutes put on Jossie Zardes. And you talked about Jossie and how he doesn't have the best speed or stamina at this point of his career, at least compared to what he was. We know Maxi, if you're talking about stamina, Maxey can go out there for 90 minutes and bring it on both ends.
Absolutely.
When it's needed. 79th minute. Radovanovic and Lundqvist working down that left side. They spring Diego down the sideline. Again, he creates space for the cross. And, like, it's a good ball. It's a little over Rigoni and not quite over the defender to John Gallagher. So, like, put it into a really dangerous spot, but it just doesn't connect. But it gets headed out by the defender. Maxey runs onto it at the top of the box. Good shot, just a foot wide left.
Yeah.
So, again, not completely inept, anemic attack for Austin in the second half. Just couldn't get one of those chances to find the back of the net. 81st minute, important sub here. Ivan Franco comes in for Amin Bassi, and 6 minutes later, Austin playing from the back, just trying to hold on here for the point. Really absorbing pressure in that last 10 minutes. They lose it out for a corner from Houston. Houston putting the pressure on, trying to get that winner. First corner gets deflected out for just more Houston possession. Dangerous cross put into the back post on the left side to Olfarsson, and he heads it instead of shooting it. I thought he could have put it on net and maybe scored. Heads it to Steris. Danny comes in. Great play by Danny defensively to pop it over the bar for another corner. But then off that corner, Herrera swings it in. Ball pings around kind of off both, I think, Escobar and Cascante right there. And Ivan Franco just finds the space and taps it home 2-1. And a couple other plays here down the end and into stoppage time, but nothing really threatening for either team. So 2-1 Houston takes the win, jumps Austin in the standings, and leads the Copa Tejas standings with 4 points from their first two matches. Austin, on the other hand, of course, stays on 16 points. They do drop one spot to 10th, but they are tied with the 9th-seeded Portland Timbers, and Austin has a game in hand on Portland. 53% Houston possession in this one, 15 shots to 11 in favor of the Orange team, 6 on target for Houston compared to 3 for Austin, but 9 of those 11 Austin shots did come inside the box. FOTMOB XG model, 1.54 for Houston, 0.96 for Austin. And that feels about right. Any other takeaways from this match before we move on? For me, just the facts here, not really an opinion. 7th game in 21 days. And like we've been saying, there is no rest for another week. We got Minnesota coming up Wednesday, RSL Saturday. Then we get that full week off until another match. So you got to keep pushing. And we kind of talked about how many points we thought we needed from this 3-game stretch to end this congested part of the schedule. I think both of us said at least 4. 4 is the baseline to where we're at least like, okay, we made it through. Where the sky is not falling. So I think we need 4 points from the next 2 matches. And I think that's very doable. I think 6 is very doable. As deflated as we all feel right now, these are not great teams coming to Q2 this week.
No. Look, you got to lick your wounds today. I hope the boys are taking time to just, sit with that loss, and then we got to move on from it. Probably back in training tomorrow. So tough one for sure. Again, let's get Seba back. Let's get 10 on the field. Let's get Diego back to the player that we know he is. This one would have been the house money one for me.
Yeah, for sure.
This would have been the one. You get a point there. That's house money. We're rolling into these next 2 games here with Minnesota and RSL coming to town. 2 winnable games. I think Diego's got to start on Wednesday. If you can only get 60 out of him, it is what it is, but we need it. Rigoni needs a break. We got to get some rotation here. But 2 winnable games. Seba is obviously right there. He's on the brink. We're going to get him back some point. I don't know if it's on Wednesday. I don't know if it's on Saturday, but 2 more opportunities here, and we're right there.
For sure. I guess lastly, being frustrated with the focus of our fan base after these losses. Yeah, that's nothing new. But one thing I've done to comfort myself is continue to look at other teams and their posts and on Twitter, those threads from their fans.
Oh yeah.
And their subreddits, that, you know, that tactic I learned from you. Man, I mean, there's people in Atlanta calling for Pineda's job. These guys are sitting on 23 points. They've got, I mean, Almada, Yakumakis, like some of the most promising, exciting, talented players in the league, and top 5 in the East right now, which I think it's fair to say at this point, the East looks a little bit stronger as a whole than the West.
Yeah.
I still don't think any of those teams match up with LAFC very well. But yeah, I mean, the fact that they have threads and threads of and not just like the comments themselves, but the comments talking about firing their coach are the most liked on their on these threads. So yeah, it's every fan base, man.
Yeah.
Let's talk Minnesota here. Loon's coming to town. Can't bring that animatronic loon into Q2. No drones, no loon drones at least. Maybe we'll get a grackle going around at some point. History between Austin and Minnesota, 2021, 3 meetings between these two teams. May 1st, 2021, 1-0 win on the road with the Diego Fagundes winner, the lone goal in that one. That was our second road win of all time and our first win streak ever after the Colorado match. So we were sitting on 6 points through 3 games in that one. Talk about small sample sizes.
Those were the days.
The next month, go back to Minnesota, 2-0 loss. And then in October of 21, 1-0 loss at home. Better result at home in 2022. I believe this was the game 3 days after the loss to San Antonio FC. I believe this was the game. 1-0 win at home. Maxi Arruti with the sneaky goal, right? The I'm dead in the box, and we have the ball back. I'm going to get up and score it right away. That was assisted by Hector Jimenez. So that was a good times. I think that was EG's first game in the North End. So that's always a good memory. And then going out there August 20th, 22, 2-1 loss on the road. We actually had a PK in that game right before the half. Seba scored it to equalize, and then Minnesota with the winner in the second half. So coming into 2023, 3 wins for Minnesota, 2 for Austin FC. So looking to even things up here at Q2 on Wednesday night. They are sitting on 19 points from 14 games, so 3 points above Austin in the table. They have a -2 goal differential. Looking at the table, Austin remains the exact same as they were headed into the match against Houston. They are 3 points out of the 5 seed, with Portland on 16, Vancouver on 17, Houston on 18, Minnesota and San Jose both on 19. So still just as congested. Just a bummer you couldn't pull out a point or maybe 3 last night, because every other result stacked up the way we wanted it to try to jump up that table even more. They drew RSL last night 1-1 at home. They did lose 4-0 to Houston in the Open Cup midweek last week. Did get red carded before any of those goals, I believe. So they bowed out as well. Other form in the league for them, they beat Portland on the road last weekend, 1-0 in the 95th minute with the winner there. They did beat Houston 1-0 at home the week before when Houston was extremely shorthanded with the double red card. And then lost 3-0 at SKC the week before that, or I think the Wednesday before that. So not the hottest team coming to Q2, but we know that they, even without Emmanuel Reynoso, can be dangerous. And they're well coached, they're well drilled. And so, I don't think we're going to come in here and just mop the floor with these guys, especially with what we've got going here. But who knows? I was looking for some Reynoso updates earlier. He may or may not be fit enough to be selected for this one, but I certainly don't think we see him start here. I'll knock on wood just in case. I guess any takes for you on Minnesota outside of fuck Mike Boxall?
No, a team that we can absolutely beat, a team that we should be favored to beat at home. And we just got to bounce back from a tough loss, and there's nothing we can do about the Houston loss right now. I will say that, a thing that has popped up pretty routinely in conversations surrounding this squad, particularly in our attack, is that we don't have somebody in the center who is taking on players one-on-one, getting into the box, beating them off the dribble. That's going to change.
Yeah.
And it's going to change when Seba gets back. And if you look at the way we've been playing as of late, offensively in particular, the things that have been working, playing those long balls, the verticality is there. And, we are missing that great Moose hold-up game in the center. Because when you see G, he definitely prefers one touch, find the open man, and then I'm running forward. Now, when that open man becomes Seba and you're dropping that ball off to him, that is something that we can be really encouraged about. Look, I don't know if Seba's playing Wednesday. I don't think he's going to start by any stretch. That's what I said with Diego in this Houston game. If I had to bet, I'd say no. Do I really want him? Yeah. And again, I think that goes back to the way that this staff treats injuries and how they get these guys back onto the pitch. I do think Diego starts here Wednesday. With him out there, the way that he makes players better, the way that he puts players in positions to score and succeed is fantastic, and it just elevates the rest of our guys, and I really hope that he brings that back this Wednesday versus this team here.
Yeah, I agree. Some of the guys that we have to be looking out for on their side, even without Reynoso, we know about Boxall, right? He can be a threat on offense as well with his size and is extremely physical. On the defensive side, they're currently led right now 4 goals for let me give this a go. Bongo Hukle?
Nailed it.
Hoangwane? I know they call him Bongi. Okay. So Bongi's got 4 goals for the Loons. He's one of their U22 players. And he leads them in goals. And FOTMOB rating, Boxall right behind him, and the FOTMOB rating, and then Kervin Arriaga. But Sangbin Jung, who we talked about when he came over, I believe from the Korean League, he's actually leading them in XG per 90. So even though I don't think he's gotten on the score sheet, certainly not more than once, he's been a threat for them on that offensive end. Let's talk a little bit more about us. I agree with you. I want Diego to start. Listening to the press conference from Josh last night, he was non-committal to him getting a start on Wednesday. So I think he may just be at a point, at least on Saturday night, where Josh thinks like whatever numbers they run with the fitness test before these matches, like he may not have been anywhere close to being that guy who can get the green light for starting minutes. I hope so, though, for all the reasons you mentioned. I am pretty confident the way he was talking about Seba, and I can reference Phil West's article again because he mentioned, Seba. What did he say? Oh yeah, Driussi came close to being greenlit for Saturday, but just fell short of hitting the benchmarks that would give him full clearance. So I hope it sounds like he's going to probably get that on Tuesday. So I think we do see Seba on the bench on Wednesday, and I think that's going to be a big boost for everybody's morale just to see him out there, even if he's just warming up on the sideline.
Totally agree. And it'll boost me up.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, we know that we're not going to have Väisänen. We don't know. We assume we're not going to have Alex Ring either. And I imagine even if he is good and not given a long timetable to return, that we're just going to see him rest anyways.
Well deserved.
Still no Owen Wolf. USA won all 3 of their group stage matches. Owen started all 3 of those. I believe they do have some reinforcements, some on paper, some more exciting players coming who are probably going to start over him at some point in this knockout stage. But it does look like they have a relatively favorable draw here in the knockout round. So it may be a while until we see Owen come back to Central Texas. So knowing that those 3 guys are going to be out, What else do you think we see? I guess both of us, we can kind of finish up with what we think we see up top. We agree on the attacking mids, what we want to see there. We want to see Maxey, right? Like I think there needs to be some rotation there if he's able to.
I agree. Yeah, I think it's Maxey. And then I think you got to go Rado, Julio, Lima.
Yeah.
Johnny.
Yeah.
Johnny back, that right wing back. Danny break too.
I mean, can we? It's so tough on a short week to change the formation, right? So I don't think we see them go to a 4-back, but you can't feel great about running Nick Lima out there as good as he was last night. Running him out at center back at least.
There's no great option,
Yeah, I mean, unless you give Kip a start.
I would feel worse about that.
I agree, especially after watching FC2 today.
Especially after watching a big step back for him today.
Yeah. And maybe a couple guys or the team as a whole. All right, let's wrap this up.
Okay.
Score predictions. I know you're not predicting a draw or loss here. So how is Austin getting their 3 points on Wednesday?
I'm going to go back to the 2-1. I do think the boost from Seba will be real. If we can get some time, if he gets on the pitch, hell yeah. I think we see the Diego start. I wouldn't be shocked if you saw, and this is going to sound a little wild, I guess, but a Johan Jafal pairing to start this game.
Yeah.
Just given the minutes Danny's played. So, but with Diego out there starting and the way that I think that he enhances our other players and makes them better, I do think we can score 2 goals. Obviously, he has a great chemistry and synergy with Maxey, and I'm hoping that we can get a Diego to Maxey goal tomorrow and really feel good about this.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I do like the call on Danny maybe taking a seat to start this match because, again, as long as you bring him in at some point, it'll count towards the 5 games, without a card there. And that would be what, game 2? I think last night is game 1, right?
Yeah.
So 1 game at a time there. Give me 1-1. Not happy about it, but just with the fucking center back depth evaporating again, I don't have a ton of confidence in being able to keep that clean sheet again. And I don't have a ton of confidence in us scoring multiple goals if we're going to rotate, if Rigoni sits, if Danny sits. So we'll see. I think if we get both of those guys in the lineup, I would probably match you at 2-1. But just with that uncertainty, I'll take my foot off the gas a little bit and go 1-1.
Okay, so that means you are saying we have to beat RSL, must win.
Yeah, okay. I am not super. I don't have a ton of respect for them outside of the elevation, and same with Colorado. Even though Colorado continues to frustrate us here in Austin as well. Let's talk last business day. Okay. It doesn't get the grass was not greener on the last business day side today. The children, they did not avenge us on this Sunday evening against Dynamo Dos. We saw heavy rotation, heavy changes for this team. We've seen some of that over the last couple of weeks, but this one was different.
Yeah.
You see Czech Touré on the left, Joe Hafferty with the armband on the right, but Kip Keller paired with Alonso Ramirez at center back. Midfield, Noel, Steve, Bobo, then David and CJ on the wings, and then Sebastian Pignot in for AOC. AOC not with the team today, so I don't know if that's just given him what would be a well-deserved week off, or if anything else happened there. But I thought they missed his presence throughout this one, and I guess, do you have any takes on that lineup? We did see Micah Burton, Cristo Vela back in the team off the bench, EJ off the bench, Valti, Asensio, Sally Maz, Leo Torres. I think the first time he's made the bench.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. Any takeaways from the lineup specifically for you?
Yeah, I was shocked. I was shocked. I thought we were going to be getting back to, the 11 we've been running, especially with getting, CJ and David back to the squad. I was pretty shocked. But again, they played well together. We had attempts in the first half, and Houston scored. We didn't.
Yeah, I mean, 11th minute didn't take long. Diego Gonzalez scores for Houston. Tough turnover there by Czech Toure. Griffin Dorsey takes it. He was the 6th overall pick in 2019. He has 52 appearances with Houston's first team. He was causing us some issues.
He was also fucking us up.
Yeah, I mean, you also saw Brooklyn Raines out there, who's one of their top prospects. So very talented Houston side. And again, we talked about how their losses this season, the few that they've had, have been to the best teams in the conference, including Austin. Houston got the better of them today, 21st minute. I think Pinot did a great job to win the ball back in the Houston area. He got it out to Czech, who fired across to David Rodriguez on the right side. His header got saved, but one of the more threatening chances in the first half. 2 minutes later, Bobo leading the break after a good long ball from Ramirez, and then kind of like a bicycle pass from Pinot. Bobo shot gets blocked out for a corner, and that ensuing corner from Czech finds Hafferty's head, and it goes wide, but that was another threatening chance. 30th minute yellow card on Tyler Maples for pulling down Pinot, and then a second yellow to Brooklyn Raines for dissent sets up a free kick for Austin. And then after that free kick was taken, Austin gets back onto it 2 minutes later. Pinot taken down in the box, no call. Starts a break for Houston. Toure able to catch up to Brooklyn Raines and get it out for a throw. But this ref lost control for sure. There was no less than 10 yellow cards handed out in this one. 40th minute, Dorsey again causing issues down that right side. His cross finds its mark, but the shot ends up getting deflected. And that falls to Charles August, who also, I think, plays middle linebacker for the Texans. He buries the shot 2-0. And I don't know, man, we don't critique or criticize the young boys that often. I thought Alonso Ramirez did his absolute best in terms of his effort and things like that. He was just in the area of both of these goals, and I thought it's not his natural position. We'll just say that. So hopefully Sal, who was on the bench, Sal back in this coming Friday.
Yeah. I mean, we had some pretty solid attempts in the first half, but we were still just, again, and maybe it was the lineup, just a little disconnected. And like you said, they had some pros down there playing. They were physical. The boys are in a rut right now.
Yeah, 48th minute. David, some shifty moves to open up space in front of the net, or in front of goal, really at the top of the box. His shot, keeper spills it, but corrals it before anybody can kind of, dunk it home. And then the next minute, fucking Dorsey takes out Noel. It's fucking insane that a card was not given here. Hurts his knee, got back up, walked off under his own power, but ends up being subbed out. And that was for all the fucking cards that this official gave out in this game. The fact he didn't get, I don't much care if he got the ball first on this one. He comes right through the side of the knee on Valentin. And I don't know, man. We might have to go fight Brooklyn Raines if Noel's out for a while, because that shit was, or maybe we're fighting the ref. I don't know. The last two officials here in Next Pro have been poor at best.
I think that, like I said, there's only one consistency you find in MLS Next Pro, and it's the refs are not good. I think shocking.
Yeah, that there's no card there. And I think, like we said with the official on last Friday's game, the loss against San Jose, that didn't affect the outcome. It's just you gotta be fucking better. Keep these guys safe on both sides.
Absolutely, you gotta do your job.
EJ ends up coming on for Valentin. That shifted Rodriguez into one of those, center mid spots there, kind of where Valentin typically plays. 62nd minute, CJ picks up an errant pass in the Houston half, touches it on to David. His shot from the top of the box goes just wide. And these guys just had some trouble today, I think, putting those shots on frame.
Yeah.
They were still those guys who are typically dangerous were still dangerous, just not their day. Things getting extra chippy down the end of this game, though. 76th minute, Steve gets a yellow card on a late challenge. I wrote there has to be at least 8 cautions now in this match.
Yeah.
Charlie does come on for Czech, and then John Santillan for CJ. 88th minute, Micah comes on for David, and Cristo Vela in for Alonso Ramirez. So going to just Kip at the back with the 2 fullbacks, trying to make that final push for a goal. None came, and then after the whistle, or at the final whistle, ball was up in the air. Kip was going up for it. Griffin Dorsey also went to challenge for it. Kip took exception, shoves him down to the ground. He gets a yellow. 2 teams come together and, hug it out. Yeah, it was there's a lot of confrontation down at the end, and I hope we see those guys again, and hopefully at the pitch.
Yeah, I totally agree. Let's take it up a notch then.
So we will preview the Austin FC 2 matchup against Real Monarchs. That is the RSL minor league team there, their second team. So another one of those matches or weekends where we see the first team play the same organization as the second team. That will be on Friday, June 2nd, 8 p.m. kickoff there. So we'll preview that match on Thursday's episode. Let's get to the betting picks, because we do have another double game week coming up here. And unfortunately, no profits there in week 15, but also not a terrible week, E. Ultimately, negative 0.73 units on the week. That's minus 27.04 units on the season. But we missed on Austin plus 225, missed on New England minus 110. Fucking Carlos Heel didn't start. Sneaky Bruce. Sneaky Bruce. DC plus 220 does not come through either, although our boy Taxi Funtas did sub on in this match, so hopefully he can start midweek for us in the best ball streets. Minnesota minus 105 did not come through. They drew RSL, and then Vancouver plus 200 takes a whooping at the hands of St. Louis. Did you see the fucking own goal they got?
I did not. I can't watch those anymore.
It's insane. What is happening?
It's the German league play, man.
So, Bundesliga 2, right?
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah.
Dude, Tristan Blackman, ball's coming backwards. He tries to head it back to the keeper, and the keeper's going out to pick up the ball. So he heads it into his own net.
Buries it.
Dude, from outside the 18, it just rolls in. I don't understand.
Oh, that's wild.
Anyways, we did pick up 3 cashes on the week. Seattle at even odds. They took care of business. Montreal also at home with the clean sheet 1-0 victory. And then Philadelphia, credit to you, E, the plus 240 comes through to bring us near even on the week. And compared to some of the weeks we've had this season, we will take that. And will roll it into the week 16 picks. I'll throw it to you first. Maybe staying at home here, I think, continuing your fandom.
Y'all know where I'm going. We're going to the Q, baby.
Yeah.
Austin FC minus 105, Minnesota United coming to town. I already outlined the reasons why I'm encouraged and excited about us potentially being able to score 2 goals here. Mm-hmm. So we'll lock it in and put the units where our mouths are. Mouths are.
Austin minus 105. I like it. And let me put in a perfect bet here. Okay. You've got FC Dallas on the road taking on Sporting KC. Sporting KC, big 4-1 win over Portland at home today. So even shorter week for them here. Dallas plus 240, perfect bet. If they go out there, that's big units in our wallet. And if not, then Dallas lost, and we're having a blast. So I love that. Dallas plus 240. Lock it in.
The invention of the perfect bet might be the best thing we've done.
Yeah. Our best contribution to the world.
Exactly. Wow. All right. I'm going to the game that we have 2 teams that we recently played, Toronto FC, Chicago Fire, that seem to be moving in different directions. But those Toronto boys, they had a meeting. No more vaping on the team. No more vaping everywhere, Federico. So Bernadeschi should be back, I believe. Insigne, obviously a talented player. Getting them at home, plus 105.
Yeah.
You got to like the home squad there, getting plus 105 versus the Chicago Fire team. So go ahead and lock that in, Canadians up there.
I like it, Toronto plus 105 against Chicago. And I will go to old reliable here. I'm going back to the Sounders. Getting healthy. Raul Ruidiaz was available off the bench last night. San Jose coming to town. San Jose dropping points at home at the death to FC Dallas late last night. Seattle, big favorites here. So I'm going to go Seattle and over 1.5 on the total to bring those odds down to minus 110 against San Jose. San Jose floundering just a little bit. Akapo, I think, still out with injury. Cade Cowell, of course, with phenomenal fucking individual goal in that third group stage match the other night, but he's not available for them. So they've been slipping up a little bit, and I think Seattle back on track here at home, getting healthy, and over 1.5 on the total. Minus 110, lock it in.
Very nice. I'm going to make a historic bet here.
Oh, okay.
The first ever double unit bet.
Oh, breaking ground.
We call it the hammer where we're from.
Yeah.
We call it the hammer. Our last hammer didn't work out too well. Well, we don't need to talk about that. So the double unit bet hammer, Philadelphia Union at home, minus 170, playing Charlotte FC. It is what it is. Yeah. Philly's better.
Philly is one of the best teams in the league still. Surprising to probably nobody at this point. Philadelphia on a significant run of form here. 13 points from their last 5 matches. Charlotte also in good form, but certainly the lesser team here. I think our boy Enzo Capetti still going to be out with that hamstring issue. So yeah, short week. I like that pick as well. Hammer it 2 units, Philly minus 170. And I'll close this out here. Columbus is playing right now, but on Wednesday they host Colorado, coming down out of the mountains, out of the elevation, and into a place where I don't think they can win. So Columbus minus 125, putting this bet in before Columbus finishes their match tonight. So nobody get hurt, please. Minus 125 for Columbus, lock it in. So that'll round out the week 16 betting picks here. E's got Austin minus 105 at home versus Minnesota. Toronto plus 105, vaping at home against Chicago. The hammer on Philly, 2 units, Philly minus 170 at home against Charlotte. Then I've got Dallas perfect bet plus 240 at SKC. Seattle to win and over 1.5 on the total against San Jose, minus 110. And Columbus minus 125 hosting Colorado. No best ball update at the moment. We have the majority of the scores in, but some big players, Zelarayan, Cucho, Hanny, Zimmerman, and the like in action right now with Nashville against Columbus. It is 1-0 Columbus on the road at the half year. Cucho assist. So we will take that, and he will score because all he had to do was beat the one of Taxi Funtas to get on our score sheet this week. So best ball update will come on Tuesday. We'll talk about it on Thursday's pod, and then, of course, ramp up for another week next weekend. Anything else for you before we get out of here? Episode 59?
No, just looking forward to being back at the Q on Wednesday. This is at least we didn't have to wait a long time to play again after
exactly
loss.
Yeah.
So I'll be there. Yeah. I'll have some beer. At least
doesn't
one.
Sound like you.
At least one. And then it's up in the air. See how the boys play.
Yeah, we will see how they'll play. And again, I'm with you. I think I'm glad we don't have to wait a week and sit here and dwell on a rivalry loss and yell at each other on social media about our takes. Like, we turn around, we're getting ready for Minnesota, and regardless of that outcome, we're turning around and getting ready for RSL. That's maybe the one silver lining here to end this congested piece of schedule, because it's a big week. You've got to get points here at home.
Oh yeah.
Stay in touch with that playoff line, because our self-imposed end of May, and we'll extend it to June 3rd because there's a match on June 3rd. Our self-imposed assessment period coming to an end. So hopefully we have more good things to say once that time comes. But what I've got to say now is we appreciate you tuning in. Happy you joined us on episode 59 of the North End podcast. If you've got 5 seconds to rate, review, and subscribe to the pod, wherever you get your podcasts, we would greatly appreciate it. And if you're watching on the YouTube channel, you can hit that subscribe button, help us grow the channel. And you can hit the notification bell to know when a new episode goes live or a live stream pops up. And of course, on this episode, hit the thumbs up, like the video, atone for your sins, help us battle the YouTube algorithm overlords, wash yourselves clean in the waters of the North End. We will be back on Thursday, recapping Austin FC's matchup against the Loons, previewing this weekend's game against RSL, and of course, previewing FC2's matchup against Real Monarchs. Enjoy the beginning of your week. Put a smile on. Look, we live in beautiful Central Texas. We cheer for the greatest team in the world. Life is good, even if the results aren't right now. Long way to go, my friends. Appreciate you being with us. Until then, he's E. I'm Zach. Vamos Austin FC, everybody. Goodbye.